So I have primarily been playing Gunslinger for quite a bit of time now, and that has led to a lot of people asking, what is my Gunslinger build, what is the best Gunslinger build, and what should I use? Well, in today's video, I hope to answer all of those questions by not only showing my Gunslinger build, but also showing some of the best options that you can use for your personal Gunslinger build. Now let's start this video off with which tree of Gunslinger you should be using. Now personally, I feel like Bottom Tree Goldie, aka Way of the Sharpshooter, is by far the best Gunslinger tree. And the main reason for me saying this is that Bottom Tree Goldie has the best neutral game by a long shot. Sure, if you just want a pure super build, obviously Top Tree probably has a stronger super, but overall I do feel like Bottom Tree Goldie is a stronger subclass. The weighted knife that you get on Bottom Tree is one of the strongest melees in the entire game and is easily capable of one-shotting another Guardian if you land a headshot, and even if you land a body shot, it still does around 141 damage to the body, which means a body shot from a 120 hand cannon will most likely finish off that target. Practice makes perfect allows you to charge your golden gun extremely quick and often leads to you being the first person with their super in the match. Obviously, if there is a Geomag Warlock on the other team absolutely popping off, he will probably get his super before you, but you won't be too far behind. Knock him down is the last part of the neutral game on Bottom Tree Gunslinger, and it is absolutely insane. So basically what knock him down does is each precision kill is going to give you 10 seconds of the knock him down perk. This is going to increase your stability and your handling, which is actually a very significant boost. It is very noticeable when you're playing, and I often use a lot of weapons with low handling, like aggressive frame shotguns and aggressive frame hand cannons, and they feel a lot more snappy and the handling is much more manageable. And honestly, I really do feel like Knock 'em Down is a very slept on perk because it really ties this whole subclass together, and without it, I just really don't think it would be the same. And finally, we have Line 'em Up. Now, Line 'em Up is exclusive towards the super. This really isn't going to do much for you, but if you hit a headshot, it does actually increase the duration of Golden Gun. So what I like to do is I like to pop my Golden Gun, and I like to know exactly where somebody is where I can just get a quick headshot. Maybe I don't know where two other people are, but as long as I know where one person is, I can get that headshot and then have that extra duration on my Golden Gun so I don't lose it before I can get 2 more kills. Moving on from the actual subclass itself, let's talk about some of the best pieces of exotic armor to pair with Bottom Tree Goldie. So the first exotic I am going to recommend is not a Gunslinger specific exotic, and that is going to be the Stompies. The reason I'm including this in here is the Stompies is just a very good neutral exotic, and it works on any hunter subclass. Pretty much any mobility exotic is always going to be S tier, so just keep that in mind. The next exotic that I am going to recommend is also another mobility exotic. This one is going to be the Dragon Shadow. Essentially, why this one is very good for Gunslinger, well, it's pretty much good for any hunter subclass. Once again, it is a neutral exotic. It allows you to run both Marksman's and Gambler's Dodge, so you can reload your gun and get your knife back at the same time, but it also increases your movement speed, increases your slide distance, increases your reload speed, and it also maxes out your handling speed. The third exotic that I am going to recommend is the first Gunslinger specific exotic in this video, and that is going to be the Young Ahamkara Spine. Now in my opinion, these are severely underrated. Basically what they do is they increase the duration and blast radius of your trip mines, but on top of that, whenever your trip mine damages something, it actually refunds energy towards your next trip mine. Overall, if you are a trip mine grenade user, I would highly recommend giving these a try, as you might really like them and they might become your main exotic. The fourth exotic that I am going to recommend is the Aetheri's Embrace. Now basically what these do is they actually give your throwing knife an extra bounce, and that extra bounce has a lot of aim assist, and I'm talking a lot. Like, it will literally bounce off the floor and shoot off to the right and just absolutely headshot somebody. Well, typically it's not a headshot, but you guys know what I'm saying. The aim assist is pretty helpful on these, and you can actually charge them up by getting precision hits, and when they are charged up, they're actually able to one-shot body guardians, and they're able to one-shot headshot supers with a throwing knife. Overall, if you are a player who really likes to use their throwing knives and you just want a passive boost to them, this is the exotic for you. Those are really the main 4 exotics that I wanted to recommend to you guys. Obviously, there is also the Ophidia Spathe that you can use for an extra throwing knife. However, I really just don't feel like there is that much usefulness to that. If you really want a throwing knife exotic, I think Aetheri's Embrace is just a lot better. But if you really love having 2 throwing knives at all times, maybe the Ophidius Faith is the exotic for you. But however, I just think there are better options. Now that we have gone over all of the best exotic armor that you can potentially use, I just want to quickly show you guys what I tend to run on my Gunslinger. So the exotic piece I usually use is the Dragon Shadow. Now I know Knock Him Down does give you a handling boost, but when you have the Dragon Shadow, you don't need a kill to activate that, so you can essentially use the Dragon Shadow to get the mobility and handling boost from that, and then once you get that handling boost and then you get a kill, you no longer need to keep dodging to proc Dragon Shadow, and then you can hold that dodge for when you need it. I also like using the Stompies quite a bit because, as I mentioned before, any exotic that is going to improve your movement is pretty much always going to be an S tier option in the Crucible. Also, if you are wondering what stat splits you should go for on a bottom tree Gunslinger build, you really just need to focus into mobility and recovery. You do need that tier 5 resilience so you can't get one head 2 bodied by 120s, but those are really the main things you need. You don't need as much intellect because, as I said before, you do get the buff from Practice Makes Perfect, which allows you to recharge your golden gun faster. Now obviously, if you do have high intellect like me, that does help you get your super even faster, but you don't necessarily need it. Now, as I mentioned before, Bottom Tree Goldie does have the Knock 'em Down perk, which gives a pretty significant boost to your handling after getting a precision kill. And it's because of that bonus and the Dragon Shadow that I like to take advantage of weapons that have a lower handling stat. Like for example, my Igneous Hammer right here. This is an absolute god roll Igneous Hammer besides maybe the Masterwork, but the one issue with this thing is that the handling stat is very poor on it. But since I have Dragon Shadow, since I have Knock 'em Down, it doesn't really matter. I can completely negate that handling penalty like as if I had pre-nerf Quick Draw. Anyways, now that you guys have a pretty good idea of what types of weapons I like to run, here are the loadouts that I typically use in the Crucible. So the first one right here is my shotgun loadout with the Chaperone and the Igneous Hammer. Now the Chaperone is really the only high handling weapon I use. Outside of that, pretty much everything has very poor handling. Now the other loadouts I like to run are the Eye of Soul and the Igneous Hammer. This is my main loadout when I am using a kinetic sniper. Another loadout I like to use is the Steady Hand in the Frozen Orbit. This is a very nasty combo. And then the Loud Lullaby in the Frozen Orbit will probably be my new go-to loadout as soon as the Loud Lullaby gets reprised on July 6th. But yeah, that is pretty much all I have for today's video. If you guys did enjoy it, I would greatly appreciate it if you left a like and a comment letting me know what you thought. And if you really enjoyed this video and would like to see more from my channel, make sure you subscribe. But as always, thank you all for watching. I will have the rest of the gameplay play in the background of this video. Anyways, it's been Gravely. Peace.
I need a hunter like you with the red jacket. Down. Zone A lost. Enemy has advantage. You have zone advantage. Double down. Hunters like you blaze a path for the rest of us. Down. Zone A lost. It's a power play. Get those zones back. Your enemy is pushing